Today, I've got a nice piece of Atlantic salmon. I'm gonna season it, and then I'm gonna smoke it with some Applewood out on the Weber Kettle. So here's the Atlantic salmon filet that I've got. Now this is farm raised, not wild, but it smells incredibly fresh. It's beautiful, and I can't wait to get it out on the kettle to smoke it, but I gotta do a few things first. To prepare this to go on the kettle to be smoked with some Applewood, I'm gonna be glazing it with some maple syrup. Just a little coating of maple syrup all over it. Now there's skin on the other side of this. We're just gonna leave that. We're not doing anything to the skin. And that's good, just like that. Now the next step to get it ready for going out there on the kettle to be smoked is to put it in the refrigerator and just let it sit there uncovered for an hour or two. That's going to allow that maple syrup to sort of absorb into the flesh, but it's also going to create a little skim on the surface of this. And that's going to help it when we start smoking. It's going to help keep some of the moisture in. So it's time for this to go in the refrigerator. So just a quick note on what it means when I say I'm going to be smoking this, because when people hear smoked salmon, a lot of times they think about preserving it. I'm not going to be smoking it for any preservation methods today. I'm smoking it for flavor to be eaten immediately. It's an entirely different process to smoke salmon, to preserve it, either cold smoking or hot smoking. This is more like indirect grilling with smoke added to it. But you can get a really great smoke flavor with this indirect grilling method by adding that smoke. All right, our grill is ready. As you can see, I've got a foil covered cooking sheet on there. That's just to help with cleanup. I'm gonna go ahead and put a piece of Applewood on our coals here. Let that start generating some smoke while we get our salmon on. I'm gonna put this meatier side towards the coals. Then another thing we're going to be doing, which some people don't do, but it actually helps, is we're going to put a temperature probe into this salmon. That's going to help us get an idea when we're close to our desired temperature, which is going to be about 145 degrees. Looking good. Our apple's starting to burn. We want to get the lid on so that fire dies down and turns to smoke. So let our salmon start cooking. As I mentioned, the internal temp we're going for is 145 degrees. We'll probably pull it around 140 because it's going to continue to cook a few more degrees once we put it in its glass container where it's going to rest for about 10 minutes. That way I can get the caper butter drizzle ready. So I'll bring you back when we're ready to pull it off. Okay, we are at 142 degrees internal temperature. Let's see how we're looking. Oh, nice. Look at the color on that. That is beautiful. Let's get our probe out of there. And we're just gonna slide our salmon, hopefully easily. We might be getting right under the skin, actually. Lifting it mostly right off the skin. All right, I'm gonna get this inside. We'll dress it up with that caper butter drizzle and give it a taste. There is our Applewood smoked maple glazed salmon. It smells wonderful. And I still have to put this caper butter drizzle on it. Now all this is some melted butter with capers added into it. Gives it a nice little saltiness on top. You can add lemon if you want. I just didn't want to add any lemon to this. Just a really good looking piece of fish. But now it's time to eat. It's salmon time. Oh, can you see that? Ooh. It smells wonderful. All right, fork, I'm going in. Got a nice big corner piece there. A couple of capers on top. You see that? All right, here goes. Mmm. Oh, wow. I know it's going to be tender anyway. It's salmon, but it's just like almost melting. That really nice little, it's not a crust on the outside. It's just almost like a nice sheen which has sealed in all the flavor in here and all the juices. It is incredibly moist. The butter caper drizzle right at the end there, it's just a nice surface flavor. There's a lot of flavor inside this. You get that maple, but boy, do you get the applewood too. There are only a couple pieces of seafood that I seek out if I'm gonna cook something or I'm at a restaurant. One is halibut, the other is salmon. And this is why salmon's on that list. Now, this smoked on that grill, indirect, for about 1 hour and 15 minutes at around 230 to 250 degrees. It kind of ranged in there. A lot of people will take salmon off at about 125. I like to let it go all the way to 140, 145. That's a little safer. You make sure if there's any pathogens, they are taken care of at that 145 degree temperature. But also, you're right at that level where the juices are just released. I've done a lot of salmon. There's just something about getting right at that 140, 145 degree temperature that the juices inside are just released before they go out, before you lose them and they burst outside of the piece of fish. Before that, it's fine. It's a little flakier. I like it like this. There's just something to be said about a beautifully colored piece of fish. That color just adds to the enjoyment. What do they say? We eat with our eyes first. Well, this tastes great just looking at it. Now you could do this in an electric smoker. You could do it in an offset smoker. I just find that there's something really nice about doing it on a charcoal grill indirect. You get a nice burst of heat if you want it there. You get really concentrated smoke under that dome. And if you're generating a lot of smoke with what you're using, Applewood or alder or anything like that, it's going to penetrate. I don't even know what you'd pay for a piece of fish like this if you went to a restaurant. A lot more than I paid for it. And this is simple preparation. Maple syrup, some butter and some capers at the end, some smoke, some charcoal, and you get this. I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to check out some of the other videos on my channel and consider subscribing. And if you do, click that bell for notifications. Thank you all for watching. I hope you have a great evening, and I'll see you again soon.